Welcome back to Z-Speed and thanks for tuning back in. Today we'll be installing this Pro Design track style front lip on our 2017 Civic Si. So if you're looking for a video with a step-by-step guide on how to do this, just stay tuned. So before we get started, let's see what's in the box.
What's in the box?
All right, this is pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Something very flexible and durable for a daily driver. It's made with polyurethane and ABS plastic. It really resembles the same materials that your stock Civic front bumper is made with. So it's going to be very forgiving when it gets struck by road debris, or if you rub up on a curb maybe. Hopefully not. It's not going to be anything like the carbon fiber front lip that will not take any abuse at all. Now this comes from Pro Car Studios. I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I will leave a link below. But the plastic looks almost exactly like your Civic front bumper. So only thing we need to do is go ahead and prep the front bumper by washing it or wiping it down to make sure there's no dust or debris anywhere around the front lip area. And the good news about this kit is it comes with its own hardware, so you don't have to source anything aftermarket. It comes with all of the screws that we'll need to attach this front lip to your bumper. The only thing you'll need is a nice drill to drill a few holes, but yeah, nothing to source other than that. And the other thing that's really convenient about this front lip installation is it doesn't require you to remove the front bumper. Lots of lips do require that. All we need to do though is place this on jack stands or ramps so we can access underneath the front lip area and drill holes. Other than that, we do not have to do anything else special. Now, when installing this front lip, it would definitely be easier to have a second person helping you out to keep it stable, but you don't have to. I'm going to show you how to do it by yourself. First thing we're going to do is check fitment over the existing lip. It's going to slide right over here. We're going to make sure everything lines up correctly. Now, before we test fit this lip, make sure that everything's clean. We talked about that earlier. Dust and debris free. Use some quick detail or whatever you've got there. And the other great thing I forgot to mention was that it also comes with pre-drilled holes. So there's no guesswork here as far as where to place the holes, which is great. Now mine was missing one pre-drilled hole, and I'll show you how to do that later. I made one mistake, and I'll show you how to fix any mistakes if you make any, but hopefully you won't. And there's not a lot of guesswork here because the pre-drilled holes are here. We just line these up on the bumper and we'll know exactly where to place the screws in. So that's very, very nice. So we're going to start off by attaching the front lip to the wheel well area. And to do that, we'll need to turn our wheels to the opposite side. So we're going to start off with the passenger side. So I'm going to turn my wheel to the driver's side here. That'll give us enough access to mock up where the holes will go to place the screws in. And once we get both sides of the wheel wells completed, then we'll need to place it on jack stands or ramps. Okay, at this point right now, I've actually got the driver's side lip attached over there in the wheel well, and it's hanging up there by itself with no bolts, of course. I'm just checking fitment right now. So you just want to make sure that this lip is evenly spaced. Everything, you know, lines up correctly. So what I did was slip the center of the lip over the pre-existing lip, and it fit perfect. And now I'm just making sure that, you know, both sides of the lip wrap around the wheel well area. And yes, they do. So that's the good news. But if you tug on it just a little bit, like I just did, it pops loose on one side. So that's why it would be beneficial to have two people, so you could kind of keep the lip up on the car while you're mocking it up. But we can do it by ourselves because I did it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Basically, what you want to do is get the lip over the center part, and then we'll just work on one wheel well at a time. So to get this thing lined up straight, right now I've got my right hand on the center of the lip, holding it right here onto the center of the bumper, and I've got it just where I want it here. And once I get it just where I want it, I'm going to now line up this part of the edge with the inside of the wheel well, and I want it straight. So I want it just about like this. Once I get it just about where I want it, I'm going to take a Sharpie and go ahead and mark my 2 guide holes right here. So, you know, take your time here. Don't rush it. Whatever you do, get it just like you want it. I wanted mine as straight as possible right here on the edge. Then once I got it, you know, into position, by holding, you know, one hand on the center of the lip and then the other hand on this corner here, I was able to go ahead and get my guide holes. So everything looks good right here. And now we're going to go ahead and mock up the other side and do the exact same thing. And once we get the 2 corners drilled and then the screws tapped in, it'll be a lot easier from there forward. Okay, drill bit size. I used, and you don't have to, a 7/64. You can use whatever you have available. Just make sure that the actual drill bit is a little bit smaller than this self-tapping screw itself. You want a nice tight fit. You don't want to over drill the hole. You want to under drill this hole so that you get a nice tight fitment here. So that's the only thing you have to worry about. So now that I've got my drill bit picked out, I'm going to go ahead and just go super slow. Luckily, my drill can really go super slow, and hopefully you can just slightly tap the end. What you don't want to do is hit it real hard and have this drill bit walk around on you. So what I started off with is a real slow spin just to kind of give it a little indentation so I can come back and drill the hole pretty easily, sort of like taking a center punch, but since this is plastic, you can't center punch it. So I'm just gonna do a little indentation by going very slow. So once I get the indentations right where I want them, now I can go back and drill these 2 holes out. You don't have to use much pressure here. I just really went pretty lightly here and it went straight on through. You don't have to use a lot of force. So these came out perfect, and I'm pretty happy with the results of this. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place the 2 self-tapping screws in. So you just want to make sure you got a good fitment on the lip. Make sure that this thing is fitting as good as possible. Then line up your 2 holes, and we're going to go ahead and I'd say we're going to advance these screws about 3/4 of the way in. You don't want to go completely flush with them yet because we still have to mock up the other side. But I definitely want them, you know, over halfway in. I don't want this thing to pop off while we're mocking up the other side, the driver's side. So I'm going to make sure they're over 3/4 of the way installed, not completely flush, but you know, at least 3/4 before I tighten them down completely. We'll get both sides done before we tap them all the way in. So now you can see I've stretched the lip over to the driver's side at this point. So this may take a little manipulation. I've got to get this thing, you know, stretched over here. At this point, you know, it's got a little bit of pull on it. You want to make sure that you get it lined up, and you want to get the edge of it kind of like wedged into the lip, and you'll see what I'm talking about once you start to put your lip on. There's a little seam there that you want to stuff the lip into here. It takes a minute to kind of get it to seat in there, but it's not that bad at all. So once you get it kind of fitted in there, just make sure you kind of work the corner until you get it into position. And what I mean by work the corner is, you can see it's not quite flush here, so I'm going to kind of pull on the lip a little bit more and line it up nice and flush. So, you know, you have to work with it a little bit. Good news is it's very pliable, so it's not going to be too hard at all to get this to sit flush. You can see right here, I've got it looking perfect right here. This is great. This is exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the 2 holes with my Sharpie, and now the hardest part of the install is over. Getting the 2 edges of the lips around the wheel well area, that's probably the trickier part. The rest of it's downhill. So now I can go ahead and drill these 2 holes out like we did On the other side, same technique, and everything went pretty smoothly on this side as well. So that's great. And now we can go ahead and attach this side of the lip. What I did basically was, attach them about 3/4 of the way down again. Make sure the other side still looked good, then tighten the other side down. Then I came back over here, and now I'm gonna go ahead and complete this side. I'm not gonna crank them all the way in as far as I could possibly do it. I'm just gonna snug them up real nice. You don't wanna go crazy with this. It's plastic on plastic, but just make sure they're nice and snug. And now we're done with the corners of the lip. Okay, if you're gonna use ramps, you might run into the same problem that I did. These are actually semi-low profile ramps to begin with, and I was able to get the car up the ramp, but at the very ends protrude upward too high, and basically it was gonna snag the end of the lip, and they're now unusable. So you may not be able to use your ramps ever again if you have normal size ramps once you put the lip on here. So that's okay, we've got a remedy for that. I've got a different set of ramps, or you can use jack stands, it's up to you. But these are called Max Haul detachable low profile ramps. They're elongated, as you can see, and they're come in 2 pieces. These things are really nice. I got these from Amazon. I'll leave a link below. Really nice ramps. Probably some of the best ramps I've ever had. And it can also handle up to 6,500 pounds. So you can use it on a truck or any style car, not just a sports compact car. You can use it on a big dog. So I'm gonna link these below. These are really nice, and it gets it up more than high enough to work on your car, but it's not that high. I think the max height is 6.5 inches. So now you see the front lip easily clears the front of the ramp, and I'm high enough to do all the work I need to underneath the front bumper. So if you don't want to spend the money on the ramps and you need to get it up high enough to work on it, here's another way to do it. If you've got some spare wood laying around, you can make like a 3-step ramp like I did right here, just to get the job completed. Obviously, you're not going to be able to use these every day for like oil changes or anything. You really want a nice set of ramps like I showed you earlier, but this could get you up high enough to finish the job. If you, let's say, started watching a video and you already have the lip and you started to put this thing in and realize your ramps don't work, or jack stands like we talked about earlier. Okay, let's slide underneath the front lip and bumper area and go ahead and start drilling our holes underneath here. You can see I've already drilled this one. I'm going to kind of show you the technique I used. This is the first hole you want to drill right here, right beside either side of the lip. So either the driver's side or the passenger side. Where this area is right here, these are the first 2 holes you want to put in, and you want to push the lip inward as tight as you can against the bumper. So that's going to ensure that it's nice and tight once you place the screws in, but push against that. And I got a Dremel because I need a little more room, so the Dremel was easier to maneuver underneath the here, but you can still use a drill, a regular size drill if you need to. But I use a Dremel, and you just basically go straight up. You don't want to do any weird angles. If anything, you might want to slightly point it towards the cabin of the car, but definitely don't point it towards the front of the bumper. Just easiest to go straight up, and you don't have to go that far either. Just a nice little bit of force, and you'll punch right through this little piece of plastic and you'll be done. It's pretty simple. I'm using the same exact drill bit that we used earlier because all the screws are the same size, and it was very simple to get through here. I think the big takeaway here is to make sure that you're applying pressure on the lip like this while you're drilling the hole, so you get a nice tight fitment. That's the key here. Pressure applied as you're drilling so the fitment's nice and tight. Okay, let's go up top and take a look at it from up above the bumper. That was the hole we just drilled, and this is going to be your second hole. These are the 2 most important anchor spots or points right here to make sure that those are planted in there first and drilled out first. Then we can put the screws in this area on both sides. I think there's a couple screws in that area, and then I think there's 3 in this area right here. So we'll do those after we get these first 2 anchor points in. This one here and this one right here first. Okay, now that you've got the 2 anchor points completed, you can go ahead and place the 3 in the center of the lip, get those done, and then we can go ahead and finish off with this area over here towards the corners. And here's where I made my mistake. That's the hole I should have drilled right there. You can see it's nice and tight up there. That's the second hole I drilled. The first one was too far down. You see that little hole right there? That was my mistake because the guide hole wasn't there. So I kind of guessed at it and I wasn't paying attention. And when I went through, it was too far forward. So what I mean by that is now you can see a hole through the lip here. Don't worry, we can fix that. You definitely don't want to put a screw this far out because you'd actually see the screw. So that was my fault. I just wasn't paying attention, but I'm gonna show you how to fix it. So we're gonna use this JB Auto Weld. It's an adhesive and a filler. That's good for dashboards, trims, bumpers, grills, anything. Dries black, that's the key there. So we're gonna use this to fill that little hole. So once it's done, you'll never really know this happened, but this is what it looks like on top, and we're just gonna put a piece of Scotch tape over the top and fill it from the bottom. Once it dries, I'm going to remove the Scotch tape, and that should take care of that. And I actually did tap into the white part of the fender, and I'm going to fill that as well. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and prepare the JB Weld. All you have to do is squeeze out equal amounts of the hardener and resin, and then we're gonna evenly mix them together. I'm gonna use a little small flathead screwdriver here. The key takeaway here is to make sure it's nice and mixed very well. Once you get it mixed up really well, this stuff actually has a pretty rapid cure rate, so you need to go ahead and use it right away. I'm going to use a Q-tip, or you can use like a wooden dowel, or maybe even just scoop it up with your hand on using some gloves and just smear it into the hole. I mean, whatever technique you want. I use a little Q-tip and it worked quite well. So what you're gonna do is pack the hole from underneath. Once you get it completely full, then you're gonna go ahead and throw another piece of tape. I think actually electrical tape on the bottom piece. Doesn't matter if you use Scotch tape or electrical tape, but you just wanna hold the resin sandwiched in between the Scotch tape on top and the bottom of the lip and let it dry. Once you're done, to prep the lip or to shine it up, I went ahead and used this 303 aerospace protectant. I really like this stuff. I use it on everything. That's how I keep my engine bay so clean. But I want to go ahead and coat the entire lip with this protectant. It also keeps UV light damage from occurring on the plastic, and obviously it makes it very shiny, sort of like Armor All. It's similar to Armor All, but I'd say it's a lot better. So this lip really shined up nicely. It really matches everything perfectly. You don't have to paint this. This is great. So I'm really impressed with the looks here.
Pedro, how do you feel about that one? That looks pretty sweet. That looks awesome.
So let's take a look at the final product. As you can see, this thing came out looking excellent here. This really could pass for a factory lip. I mean, this is how it should have come from the factory, if you ask me. It really complements the front of the bumper, and I'll show you how it ties in with the rear in a second. But yeah, this is pretty high quality for 127 bucks plus shipping, which ended up being right around 190. That's not bad at all. For 190, this thing looks really good. It looks pretty aggressive. It's not too much, you know. It's what an OEM style front lip should look like. It's not way out there. It's not huge. I didn't want anything real big, but I wanted something, you know, a little something more than what it came with, and it didn't have much of any type of a lip to begin with. So this thing is stellar, and I think it's going to hold up quite well to any issues that are on the road. As far as things bouncing off of it, it should be able to tolerate it pretty well. And if you look at the rear bumper, it's actually got a little lip on it too. So this is stock right here, and the front did not come with this, so now it ties it together. You can see the rear lip now matches the front lip. So I don't know why they left off the front lip from factory, but now we've got everything looking perfectly matched. Now you can see this ties in great with the rear, and I'm very pleased with this. I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for something that's not super aggressive, but will definitely complement the front of the bumper here. You can't beat this. So if this video helped you out, don't forget to leave me a big old fat thumbs up. And until next time, you know what to do. Just keep on repairing.